The word Mingi, the Eastern Ijo word for water, is the most significant symbolic link between the former Dutch colony of Berbice and the Eastern Ijo speakers of the Niger Delta area in West Africa. As a general rule, linguistic evidence has played little or no role in the study of Caribbean history. In the case of Berbice, there is virtually no known document supporting the first 50 years or so of the existence of the colony. The virtual absence of specific documents serves to emphasize the significance of available linguistic evidence as a resource for understanding Caribbean history, since the presence of linguistic forms from one geographic area in another could only be explained through historical connections. Mingi, the Eastern Ijo word for water, is one of many Eastern Ijo words found in the Berbice Dutch Creole language, which evolved in the Berbice colony during the period of Dutch control. Other Eastern Ijo words loaned to Berbice Dutch include Mangi, to run, Mona, to sleep, Alala, tongue, Aka, teeth, Bibi, mouth, Beefy, to speak. The selection of these core items in Berbice Dutch from Eastern Ijo suggests that Eastern Ijo speakers, despite the virtual absence of any supporting historical documents, appear to have had a seminal influence on the development of the Berbice Dutch Creole language. As a consequence, this single group of West Africans appears to have had numerical or social dominance at some point in time before the emergence of the Creole in the early history of the Berbice colony. The only known document supporting the Eastern Ijo-Berbice link is a 1682 reference by Adam Jones, who in his 1988 book claimed that the other ship, whose cargo included a large kettle, 50 pounds of tobacco, a drum, and 200 pairs of shackles, all for the slaves, was to transport the remaining 500 slaves to the colony of the Zeeland family Van Peer on the Berbice River in what is now Guyana. Mingi, or water, held a very special place in the lives of the Eastern Ijo people and in the lives of the Berbice Dutch speakers in the South American colony. The early Eastern Ijo inhabitants would have encountered in Berbice an environment that was a virtual carbon copy of the Niger Delta area. Water, or Mingi, was the dominant element. It was the main transport link between and among the ribbon plantation settlements on both banks of the Berbice River and its major tributaries, the Kanji Creek and the Wearuni Creek. The alluvial banks of the rivers and of the creeks were overhung with mangrove, as in the Niger Delta from where the slaves came. And the water, beyond a certain distance of river, bore a dark, translucent, tannic brown color. The main means of transport, as was the case in the Niger Delta, were watercraft. In Berbice, they were dominated by the dugout, the canoe, the ballahu, the pontoon, and, in more recent times, motorized launches and craft, including speedboats with outboard engines. The dominance of water in the lives of the inhabitants of the Berbice colony is very evident in the stories the people tell.
That nice magic used to pass in this place. This, them in the 60s, because I started living around 62, 63. I move up from up top side, so I come and start living. And sometimes I hear paddle boat coming. You know paddle boat, bro, and people gaffing. So the boat coming by. And the next thing, you see a swelling and hear the talking up, so. See no boat and pass, you just see a swelling. And next thing you hear the talking start from above you landing. And I see nobody. But nobody used to fighting, you know. No use of fighting. Me and my wife hunting at night, coming down from Three Sisters side. She sat down in the canoe, and I she fell. Listen. Next thing I see, she lay down, cover up. The next morning, she asked me, you see the man last night? I said, well, she asked me, she said, man sat down with a cat up on his head, 40 foot on the water drifting. I said, me not come to see them things, me come to look for lava and deer.
One informant provides two powerful examples.
Yeah, that's the experience of my own self. Seeing things on the river, I used to travel alone, you know. When I tell you going with these boats and stuff. And once we was coming from the Fair Bridge. Me, my mother, and my father, we were coming from the Swing Bridge, going up in a small canoe. The water, going up at speed because you got to travel with the tide. And while we going up, we passed this Rosal estate. Not like nowadays when you speak to children and tell them if they see anything, they mustn't talk and so. And while we going up, we on this left-hand side, same side with the Rosal, and over the right side, in the center of the river, a man was swimming. There's a man, you could see, because he hair is clean as a Negro. And he's swinging long and he's swimming. And when I see the thing, I thought, because the man swimming against the tide with speed and we going up with the tide. And when I look my mother makes so, and she looked my father. And we continue. But when we reached out in the forest, I had an uncle. And it was late. My mother said, me not travel tonight. So we sleep the next morning. Then she gonna tell me, say, there is something they call the name, you know. So that's why. And the next time, we were traveling, calling about a man, the name is Robinson. He uses to live at Long Hook. But Long Hook place is mostly where the people uses to mine cattle. And we call him both on coming. Well, he was a big man. He raced him with me to see who both got the fastest, right? And I think, and I did far in front of you, and afterward I hear this man hollering. I want to know what happened. So when I slow down, I see this water tumbling up. And the man said, calling. We near water, say calling. And when we calling, we hear hee. You know how horse does, ne? A white horse. But it ain't coming behind us. It passed the water side. Those two things mostly I witness of myself.
It is difficult, as the narrator suggests, to imagine an ordinary human being swimming quickly against the powerful river tide as the man in her story appears to have been doing. The story of the white horse seems incredible. But there appears in Reverend Charles Dance's 1881 Chapters from a Guyanese Logbook a narrative of a perfectly natural phenomenon that may provide some explanation and support for the informant's story.
A little higher up than De Veld, there is a small island almost adjoining the east bank of the river. As we were passing up, Jeremiah cried out in great excitement, Apupuri, adding, put out for the middle. I could not at first discover the reason for this excitement, and for the extra strong pulling towards the middle of the river, it seeming to me an improper resort in a time of danger. Nor could I then understand the meaning of the words apupuri, apupuri, so vehemently called out by the experienced river captain. Presently, a roaring noise was heard behind us. "What is it, Jeremiah?" I said. "Don't know," was the reply, "but vexed water is coming, and to be safe we must keep out." As the noise got nearer and louder, I saw a great long wave hurrying onwards and bringing with it the debris of the banks, uprooted trees, dried stumps, and clumps of freeman's grass and buduri thorns, with heaps of mokomoko. Our boat was lifted up, but the wave soon left us behind. I have since seen this extraordinary wave break loose a bateau from its moorings and tumble it over and over. And it is said that at Mara, vessels of small tonnage have sometimes been lifted up and cast upon the high and grassy bank.
Even in relatively modern times, the bend in the river in the vicinity of Highbury, referred to as Highbury Turn, the general area where the rising and falling tides meet, has had a reputation for rough water, and craft have been known to sink, with resultant loss of life and limb. Dance himself tells the story of the Mermaid's Lake.
There was a captain of Indians who was also a piaya priest and doctor. He lived on this savannah. His little daughter went down to the river every day to bathe and was frequently seen splashing, diving, and swimming with a companion of apparently her own age. Much notice was not taken of her doings, as she was a spoilt and wayward child, and allowed by her fond father to do and to go whatever and wherever she liked. But one day she was missing. Evening came, and the captain's daughter was not at home. Search was made for her in the river, but without success. At night, the piaya man's wailing was heard, supplicating the spirits of the river and savannah to inspire him with the knowledge of his daughter's fate. At the dawn of the day, he went down to the river and searched about the bank, rattling his gooby shak shak, or magic gourd, as it is indiscriminately called, but properly, as by themselves, yumaraka, and chanting in plaintive and sorrowful tones. At times, he would place his ears to the ground and shake his yumaraka and listen as if seeking to discover by sound a hollow space underground, a passage from the river. Thus he went on, forming for himself an irregular path upward to the savannah until he came to the lake. Here he sat down and in sweetest tones implored for the restitution of his child. There was a motion in the water, and then appeared a minjamama, mermaid or merman. Guyana legends tend to the belief of the hermaphrodite nature of these mysterious and fabulous creatures, who laugh derisively and tauntingly while swimming about and lashing the water with his tail. Arrow after arrow, with unerring aim, sped from the captain's bow. The merman's head and breast were covered with them. He sank down into the lake, but his descent was for a moment only. He returned, and with him the captain's daughter, swimming around and plucking out the arrows from the head and breast of her mysterious lover.
This story, as Dance notes, is one told by the indigenous Arawak or Lokono people of Berbice. The story speaks of the unusual link between ordinary people and the powerful water or Mingi people who inhabited the depths of the lake and seemed to exert particular control over some individuals. These individuals are often referred to as either having or as being water people. The story resonates with a second one told by the informant.
Her room, nobody going to go in, always with lily white. And she used to call my mother sometimes when she wake up in the morning and she go down at the waterside for wash her face. She go say, Arabella come, my mother name Arabella. She said, Arabella come. She didn't name Hetty. And when she come, she said, pick up the money there for me now. I see the money in the water. And when she go for put her hand for pick it up, she just fall overboard. And how she sister does laugh and she does get vexed. But when, after a certain time, she used to get a lot of presents like from this river, you know. She had a lot of things which she had in her room. And she fell in love with a fella, a man by the name of Boston. He used to live in Long. And like the people them what she used to deal with, they like the man. My mother said she used to cry and holler out the night like they used to beat she. And one time she leave, she tell my grandmother, hot sunny day, she say, you know what happened? Ma, she was gosh, ma. Me go out for 2 weeks. So I say, you got 2 weeks, you got New Amsterdam for 2 weeks, so you know New Amsterdam for 2 weeks. So she said, ma, she tell she, yes, man, me go. So she said, this Saturday, she said, I'm going today, man. She dress up herself. And she walk down the water side, so my grandmother said she get nothing in her hand. So she asked, what's wrong with you? Where you go? Oh, you go for 2 weeks and you don't get nothing in your hand. And she didn't answer, but she started to walk down with us. Got all them water side, us got a long lad with us, washing boat. With us walk. As she walking down and going down in the water, my grandmother all around, she start holler. And she come up back. And the next morning when they wake up, there you see she. And they were sorry for know if she dead. 2 weeks. And the morning when they wake up, they see she back in the house. But she didn't tell them nothing. Nothing she didn't tell them. Nothing. And it's after that, when she gets fall in love with this man, at night, she and them, she said the hero, she hollering. And she started to get pregnant. When she get pregnant, and when they wake up, they meet she with she neck break. Fresh in the bed.
These stories of the river hint at something deeper, mysterious perhaps, or even religious. This story of the Mermaid's Lake bears a striking resemblance to the story of Mingi Mama, a location 103 miles up the Kanji Creek.
Mingi Mama is a place of the Kanji River near to Three Sisters. They have a gutter there where some Amerindians used to live. One day, 3 children went to the waterside to bathe. But when they start to bathe, one of the child disappeared and the rest come shore. And they said, what happened to the child? They said they can't tell. The child ducked down something, took the child down. And the buckman decided that he would go to the space to see what happened to this. And he come and he go down. And he come with a PI man. They say PI man and this buckman go there. And when he went there, he said, show the spot where the three children did bathing. And he threw a little gooby, and this gooby runs straight right shore. So where you see the gooby stop, the fairmaid is there with the child. The gooby run right straight shore, and they find the gooby, and the gooby start to spin wrong on the spot, and he called for the shovel man them to dig. He said the child is there with the fairmaid, and when they dig, they find the child with the fairmaid just there. It having the pond there. When they finish, they take the child, but the fairmaid break the child neck little before they reach for the child. The buckman take the stick, and he said, I will plant this stick as a memorial, and anybody who go there at Mingi Mama, they should see the yarela tree is growing there. Many people went, and they see the tree there. It having the pond.
We've been far away, live far away from them thing. Only thing they tell me that some buck, them water mama carry the buckman child. And he was a smart man. So when he come down, he start tracing them. Got some gooby in his head and he going down, tracing them, and he almost to capture them. They run ashore and thing, and they start going under the earth. And he dig and well they just left and run away. And when he done, like he find the child, I think they said he find the child, but like he neck the break. And he plant the shovel, the shovel he think was a Colorado. And he plant the shovel and left it, and they go away and walk right by the same battery, a little bit above that again, and go away to Fort Nassau side. Okay. And that thing remain and grow a tree there. So if you got to say Mariddle, Marie Force or what, but that is what they told us. Mingi Mama is a place where a Kanaima buck been living. You know Kanaima buck?
Yeah, I know, but tell
You hear about them? One been living there. And the other little boy, he's left the boy home and gone to work. And one day when he come from work, the boy missing. and get a thing that's called P.I. goby. And he play this goby, and this goby roll overboard, duck down, come under the shore, make a song. Must tell me what mama carry with the man son. And got it there. The man start dig, so come the place got a hole. Man dig a big hole deep, like this cocoa tree in them days. And before you meet her, they kill the baby, the man son. And he catch them, just cheer them. And he kill them out. Then he walk across from Digitima, come lower down. And he walk from Digitima to Berbice River and make the way home.
To this day, the Yawela tree is still used to mark the location of Mingi Mama. The Mingi Mama story bears several parallels to the story of the Mermaid's Lake. Children are playing. At least one disappears. An Amerindian PI man is used to find the child. The child is dead. Its neck is broken. There are also similarities to the informant's story about her aunt, especially the unnatural link with the beings inhabiting the depths of the rivers. Dance himself notes the links between the African and indigenous Indian belief systems on these matters.
The truth of the adage that a prophet has no honor in his own country is exemplified in the mutual faith of Indians in Negro Obeah and of Negroes in Indian Piaism. When the blacks and their descendants of all colors, who may be faithful to the traditions of Obeahism, seek without obtaining the expected aid, they resort to the Indian Piai man and so likewise the Indian, failing to get the required relief from the doctors of his tribe, applies to the black bush doctor.
The actual worship of river deities remained a powerful feature in the lives of the Africans on the Berbice River. Alagoa notes that worship of water deities was normal among the Ijos in Nigeria, and that the rivers were the place where the unborn lived and to which the ancestors returned to complete the cycle. These ancestors often returned during festival celebrations held for the water deities. When they returned, they displayed the awesome power of being able to identify persons who were evildoers in the society. In Berbice, Mingi Mama worship was prevalent. So prevalent indeed that the government passed an ordinance in 1810 prohibiting its practice. But there was resistance, and the practice did not go away. In 1819, Hans, a slave of Congo origin, was tried, convicted, and sentenced for holding a Mingi Mama dance. In 1823, 13 years after the passing of the ordinance prohibiting such practices, Willem, a Creole slave, was tried and convicted for causing the death of a female slave who he divined to be an evildoer on plantation of Hoop van Better. He too was sentenced to death. Willem claimed to be able to fly back to Africa and to be Abadi Tobeki. Abadi being the Berbice Dutch word for God and the Eastern Ijo word for the ocean. Willem claimed to be God's child and to have supernatural powers. The strength of the Ijo presence is underscored by the fact that neither of the two practitioners of this essentially Ijo worship was of Ijo origin. Hans was Congolese and Willem was a Creole slave. Mingi Mama worship was a clear link to the Eastern Ijo people, further underscoring the symbolic significance of Mingi as a vital link with the Niger Delta and its peoples.